So, have you ever considered moving out of your comfort zone, whether that's moving away from home? I mean, if your comfort zone can only be home, so have you ever thought of moving away from that? Because I am someone who has done that. I know a lot of people who have done that. Now, I'm someone who's moved away from home twice. One was when I was 18 years old after my board exams. Everyone, basically any NRI person who's in the Gulf goes outside, whether it's India, whether it's the UK, Canada, the States, Australia, wherever to study. And that's the first time you move away from home, right? Now, I'm someone who went to India. So, India, it's a lot of fun. You do have to study, but again, the way things are done in the UK in terms of education and the way things are done in India in terms of education is very different. And in India, you don't really feel the sort of pressure that you would actually feel here in the UK or any of the Western countries. It's really different. Now, in India, the huge significance difference was the cost of living. You don't really, it's not that expensive in terms of if you're already an NRI, and then the currency value is a lot different, so your cost of living, you don't need to really pick up another job. Or I mean, for anyone, I don't know anyone in India who has done a part-time while studying. We have never had to do that in India. So we have also had like help in India, like whether it's in our, when I was staying in the hostel, we got 3 meals a day. When I was staying in my PG, we had someone who came in and cleaned the the house every single day, and we also hired a cook, so we didn't really have to worry about food at all. And in fact, we used to do breakfast every morning at university, because that's the cost of living in India. So you never really have to think about picking out another job. You're just studying, and then you're just living your life in India. And it's also a very social country. In India, it's so easy to socialize with everyone because I mean, of course, it's very easy to get along with your own people, right? You have similar sense of humor, you have an understanding of what the kind of, you know you have an understanding of what you have an understanding of each other, is what I'm trying to say. So socializing in India is also really easy. Everyone gets along, everyone gets the jokes, and it's Indian people generally are very social, so you don't really have a problem with that as well. Now, when I was 29 and I moved to the UK, whole different situation. It's really crazy to see the vast difference. First of all, the cost of living is really expensive. When you are studying, you have to pick up a job. There are people who have not had to pick it up either because they have never found a job or because they are able to sustain themselves regardless, you know, without having to pick up a job or whatever. But I had to pick up a part-time job because I definitely in no way wanted my mom to be sending me money. And it just felt like I just knew it was something that I was going to be accommodating for myself when I was going to be studying in the UK. And again, you don't have any sort of help. So, and also socializing is really different. So I'm just going to speak about these few factors that you really need to keep in mind before you move out of your comfort zone. This video in no way is telling you to not do it. I'm just giving you like a glimpse of what to expect. But by all means, if you have the opportunity or the privilege to move outside, you should absolutely do it. Here are things that you probably should keep in mind, or just to be aware of what you're exactly going to feel in certain circumstances in your life when you move abroad. Now, number one is socializing is a lot harder than you think. I'm not really sure why is it this way. I really cannot put a finger on it, and I cannot really point out to what's the reason that socializing is really hard here. I think so. One thing is, when I was in university, when I started off in university, it was fine to socialize there because you all are sort of on the same boat. You all are studying, you all are trying to figure out life, you all are away from home, so there's comfort, there's relatability, and there's an understanding. A lot of the people who come in are from outside, so they know exactly what the struggle is like, so there's that relatability. But once you're done with university and you leave, it was just me by myself. I was, of course, in touch with a lot of my friends, but a lot of my friends had either gone to a different place or they had just left to go back home. So you really need to put yourself out there to make friends. And also, when you move to a whole new country, when the thing is, a lot of the people, especially once you leave college, they are in these cities for so long and they already have their friend groups. It's basically like how you are back home, right? You don't really need to think about your friend group or who you're going to hang out with. For example, when I was in India, I had my friends there, whatever. And then when I went back to Kuwait, that was my home anyways. So I know a lot of people from Kuwait. And so for me, there was a lot more socializing through common friends, but then you also have your friends who are already there from before, who you were friends with, who you're still hanging out with. So again, you're in your comfort zone, but when you leave the country and you're trying to make friends, you're either trying to break into a group completely new, which is really hard to do because everyone already in that group has like a certain dynamic and so on. So you're trying to break through that, which is again really hard. And I feel like you intentionally have to put the effort to make these friends. And listen, as someone who, I consider myself introverted, regardless of what people say, but I'm pretty introverted and I don't really know how to develop friendships. Like, I could speak to someone, but till I know that this person actually wants to be my friend, it's really hard for me to even. I don't know how to make friends. Like, I'm such an awkward being. It's not even funny. I feel like all the friends that I've made, it's because they have really extended themselves to me and be like, hey, do you want to hang out? Hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? I think there was only one friend who I was living with, who I intentionally asked. It's like, hey, you're going for that paint and sip thing, right? Oh, you're going for the disco thing, right? Can I come with you? Like, invited myself or whatever. But like, otherwise, I'm just not someone who does that. I'm quite shy and I'm awkward and I don't really know how to push myself into a friend group or even be friends with someone. So I was really lucky for the people who did reach out to me. Thank God. But it's I feel like here you really need to put that effort to make those friends. Now, if you move into a house and you get a good group of people who you're living with and they are your social circle now, amazing. But the chances of that happening is not really the most common. Also, I have been really lucky in the past that I've gotten really good hostel mates or really good flatmates back in India and even here while I was in university. But when you leave university, whoever you meet in your flat is they're gonna have like a whole different path in life. They're doing different things. They have their own circles. They have their own friend groups in London. Maybe they are from London. They moved down here, and there's so many different dynamics. So they are also established in their friendships. So they're not really looking to make friends, because they are from here anyways. But if as again, I also do not know if I want to really, you know, overtake on the flatmate and friendship thing. Like, I don't know how that works, and that's not necessarily something that I am comfortable with anyways. But yeah, I feel like here you really have to push yourself to make those friends. And when you make a friend who's like you don't know on what basis you could be friends with this person. Like with university, it's, oh, we are both from outside and we are going to this thing together, so there is this common ground, right? But when you're meeting someone fresh off the boat outside, I like, there has to be common ground. But again, there's an effort in trying to like speak to someone from the outside, so socializing does become effort. And luckily I'm introverted, so I don't really like, I'm not really big on like making new friends unless it happens naturally anyways. But I would never go out of my way to put myself in a social situation where I'm like, okay, let's go and get to know people, woohoo. No. But again, that is something that you need to factor in. If you're an extrovert and it's very easy for you to talk to people, amazing, you could do that day and night. But as an introverted person, it's probably going to be a little more challenging. Also, when it comes to socializing, there's so much difference. Like in India, I feel like everyone is just approachable and everyone just knows everyone knows how to make conversation beyond small talk. But I feel here there's a lot of small talk, and I feel like there's some times where I could have the same conversation with a person like 10 times and it does not go beyond that. Sometimes I myself don't know how to make it go beyond that, because I feel like, am I crossing a boundary if I do ask someone like a bigger question? Maybe I should take that chance. But again, it's something that's a little bit more challenging. Number 2, the truth about doing every single thing yourself. Now, when I first came here, I remember telling a friend, oh my god, like, I actually need to think about my 3 meals. I need to do my laundry on a regular. I need to change my bed sheets every 2 weeks. And I need to also wash them because I don't have as many bed sheets anyways. I have like 2 bed sheets and I need to rotate between them. I need to make sure that I'm washing them along with my other thing, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then you need to clean this regularly, and then you need to keep these things. You can't leave your utensils in the sink or whatever because there are other people who are going to use it. So you need to be on top of your things, on top of everything all the time. And this friend's like, welcome to the real world. I'm like, man, just shut the hell up. Like, please. Like, okay, I get it. You know, back home, especially in countries like Kuwait and India and stuff, you have a lot of house help. My mom, the most that she's expected out of me when I was like, I before I joined college or anything like that was to fold the blankets and wash my dishes. That's it. And I'm pretty sure I didn't even do that. Like, I'm sure there was a time where I went to wash my dish, she'd come and she'd be like, it's okay, leave it, it's fine. And I'll be like, okay. And it's literally just one plate, okay? So we have, like, it's I know it sounds really spoiled or whatever, but that's just the normalcy back home. We have not been accustomed to doing a lot of housework or whatever. Like, I can't speak for everyone, but personally I know a lot of people who have not had to go through lens to actually think about their day-to-day domestic sort of things that they need to do, whether it's cleaning, washing your clothes, cooking three freaking meals a day, or just making sure that your environment is clean all the time. Every Sunday for me is occupied with cleaning my room or making sure everything is in place, blah 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 blah. Okay, apart from that, you really have to do so much by yourself. That is even like your admin work in terms of your finances, how you're managing your finances, and uh, what is your budgeting looking like in this month. Are you going to spend on this, and what groceries do you buy in a week? Because if you buy those damn vegetables and you don't eat them, they are going to go rotten. And with a heavy heart, I have to say I have wasted a lot of vegetables. A lot of vegetables. I am so sorry, Mother Nature. Like, I really try because I need to get my fiber and stuff, but there are times where it's just impossible. Like, you really need to plan out what your fridge situation is. Also, when you're sharing a fridge, you can't really go crazy buying whatever the hell you want. You need to buy for that week, and then you need to do this on a weekly basis. So it's it's literal adulting. It's literal adulting to another extent. Like, it's not another extent, it is actual adulting in life. And maybe I'm making it sound, I know a lot of people have this thing where they're like, oh my god, if you're so spoiled and you have so much back there, go back home. That's not the point. But when you're someone who's not used to thinking so much about like what is being done at home, and you're living by yourself, you need to think about each and everything. Even when you have a partner, there is like a shared sort of responsibility for each person, right? So you're able to sort of share that load with that person. But when you're by yourself, you're not sharing that load with anyone. You're sort of, you have to keep in mind all the things that you need to do. You have to keep in mind the flatmates that you share the house with. You have to keep in mind how you're spending your finances, where's your money going, what are you investing in. You're making sure that you know you have enough for your future funds, blah 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 blah. So all of these things you literally had to do by yourself, and there's no one who's going to come and look after you and take care of you or advise. I mean, there'll be a lot of people to advise you, but again, it's all by yourself. It's all by yourself. Now, this may seem, it's not the most difficult thing. I think the first month you will be like, bruh. But then eventually it it becomes such a routine for you. It's just about that gap of figuring it out, and like trying to figure out how you're going to do all of these things and how you're going to accommodate all of this in your life, right? And the first month you'll probably struggle, and especially when you're in university, you're struggling a lot more because you're doing university and then you're doing part-time, and then because you're an international student, you're trying to pick up like another TEDx kind of thing, and you're like, my plate was so full when I was university, so full. I have no idea how my body functioned. I have no idea. At the same time, I was having fun as well. So, like, my body was on survival mode. Like, how? Like, I, God, like, bless my body, bro. Like, to be honest, it's taken me through so much in the first 1.5 year that I was here. And I have put it through so much since the 1.5 year that I was here. I think really after getting this job, I have been well rested and my routine is set and everything. Okay. But, anyways, not to digress, you will get into it. And of course, it is a big positive as well because you learn to manage a lot of things by yourself, making you really independent in life. It is a struggle initially, but this is something that you need to mentally prepare for, because you don't even realize the things you need to pay attention to till you actually have to pay attention to them. Next point. Number 3, you will be really alone. Actually, no. I'm gonna change my words. You will be really lonely. Now, when I was in university, again, it's really easy when you're in university because it's a very social life. University generally tends to be very social, anyways. And I had a lot of friends. No matter what, if I needed someone, I could just call them and be like, "Hey, are you free?" or whatever, and everyone was trying to socialize because it's such a hard time. And it's your friends in your university is what keeps you alive, to be honest. So my first year was not really that hard, but in once university got over and I was by myself, it eventually I did get used to it. But once all of your friends leave, either to different back to their home countries or to different locations and so on, it's really lonely. You're having your lunches by yourself, you're having your dinners by yourself. And when I was in uni, there were times where me and my flatmates were close enough that we would cook together and we would also be eating food together. And if I had to cook something extra and leave it in the fridge, I'd message my friend and be like, "Hey, you know what, there's extra in the fridge," and she would do the same for me. Like, you have that sense of community. But at some point when you don't, I am someone who does not like eating food alone, okay? I don't have a choice in terms of like now and I'm living alone and I have to. But it takes a lot. I love the idea of sharing food. I think it's such a bonding experience. And this, like, I think food genuinely makes me happy and it just makes everyone happy. And not having that, especially in Italy, at some point when you realize, damn, like you're having all of your meals alone, alone in your room, and you need to find ways to like fill this sort of void, or like it's in a way it's a good thing, but it's something that you still really need to get used to. And there are days where you are genuinely going to feel really lonely, and you're going to wish that you have someone. And I'm someone who, again, I can't be friends with just anyone and everyone. I'm friends with people who I can have long conversations with. I need to be able to speak about my life and what's happening in my life, and I'm more than happy to listen about what's happening in your life. Like, that's the sort of connection that I need. So for someone who's that way, I can't be friends with everyone, and I just don't believe in make keeping acquaintances in a way, like just going out and having small talk conversations where you're not really having depth in that conversation. I'm not trying to sound like pretentious or something, but again, that's just the type of person that I am and the types of friends that I make. It's really hard for me to like speak to someone on a very like surface level because I feel like I overthink so much that it needs to come out like vomit. So I need someone who's able to listen and also like handle that. So yeah, it can feel really lonely if you're not able to make friendships beyond this sort of expectation that I have from my friendship. So if you're someone who is that way, then it can get quite lonely. I'm sure even extroverted sometimes you can have 10,000 friends, right? But if you are not able to like speak at depth with any of those 10,000 friends, you are going to feel lonely anyway. So it's not just a me thing, okay? So yeah, it's something that will happen from time to time. There's going to be a point where you're going to have to learn to be alone. Until that point comes, at some point you're going to be okay with being alone or lonely or whatever. But there will be a time again where you're going to start feeling lonely. You're going to have certain nights where you're like, damn man, I wish I could go for a drink with a friend. Oh, I wish I could plan this lunch with on this weekend with a friend. So that's going to happen a lot. Number 4. This has to be the worst. This genuinely, I hate it when this happens. It's not happened too many times, but it's happened enough times that I've broken down. Being sick will make you feel the worst. Like, genuinely, I believe that I'm not someone who falls sick a lot. My mother disagrees with me. She's like, bro, you're the only person who's always sick or something's wrong in the family. You've gotten bitten by a dog. I've taken you to the hospital 10,000 times. I thought you had thyroid. I've taken you to the hospital 10,000 times. You were admitted with dengue in India, which was probably false, but whatever. You had an eye surgery because your sty would just not get the hell out of your eye. You have just, my mom can go on with a list again. But for me, I'm like, I don't fall sick that often. And she's just like, let me get my stick to whack that shit out of you. So, in a ways, recently, I, again, when I moved for my job, I don't know anyone here in where I live right now. Like, I have my colleagues and stuff, but they are my colleagues. I can't call them when I'm sick. Just the whatever. And I had I all of a sudden got a fever, and I thought it's not a big deal. I had a Panadol, went to sleep. And the next day, like, I was just dead on my bed. Like, I worked from home, luckily, and I did as much as I could. But at the same time, I was really sick, and I thought, okay, fine, another day, working from home anyway, so it's fine. My body's rested. I don't need to get out. I felt really sick, and I had a sore throat, and I went to sleep at some point in the afternoon, like at 4 after work, and I got up the next day at like 11 or 12 because my body just could not take it, and I just kept getting up like every 2 hours, and I couldn't talk, I couldn't eat for 3 days, I couldn't drink water because like my sore throat or my tonsils had grown so much that I just could not like swallow water or food or anything. And at this point, I was like, okay, this is getting a bit excessive. Like, what the hell is happening? I was like, you know what? Let me just go to the hospital. And I called my mom and said, like, listen, just go to the hospital, go to the A&E or whatever, blah, 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 blah. And this is the first time that I've had to do this here in the UK, like, go to the hospital and make sure, like, everything's fine. I had no idea that you're supposed to call your GP before this, okay? You learn as you go. And I go to the hospital, and I remember going there around 2 o'clock. And I had, like, a blood test. And because I had not eaten anything, they could not get blood out of my veins. And they had to, like, put an injection in me like 4 5 times, and they're like, blood is not coming. And they're just like, whoop, whoop, whoop. And they took blood from here and they tried from here, and it was, I don't like it. Like, I'm used to needles because of my hospital visits, no other reasons. But also, like, they did it so many, like, it makes me feel really ugh. Like, who likes being needled, bro? Like, ew. So, and then later on, the doctor comes to me and he's like, you need to be admitted. I was like, what? What do you mean I need to be admitted in the hospital? I was like, okay, cool, story of my life, I guess. And then they admitted me, and then the nurse comes to me and she goes like, so do you know why you admitted? I was like, I have no clue, but he said that they need to keep me under observation. And he's like, yeah, that's because you have had 200% of bacteria in your blood while you're supposed to have less than 100%. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, that's not normal. I was like, so I've been just walking around like some swamp princess? What do you mean I have bacteria in my blood? Disgusting. And I got admitted, and I only got my bed like at 11:30, 12 at night. So I was there like for a long period of time, and I was just seated and waiting and whatever. And in the middle of the night, the person next to me almost lost their life, and I couldn't sleep all night because I was clenching my pearls. And I was just like, God, just please take me home. And I was crying on that bed. I was like, dude, this is scary. I don't like that I'm alone. I wish there was someone with me. And there was no one that I could call. Like, my sister lives all the way in Basildon. She has a son now. And I can't expect her to come all the way for a sore throat and like fever, okay? And like bacteria in my blood. That, like, it was like an accident, maybe, yeah. But like, this was like a fever. But still, like, I still like would love to have someone at that point of time. But to be alone in a hospital, it's really sad. And my case was not the worst, okay? It was, again, I don't want to downplay whatever I was going through during that time because it was still very difficult. But like, I had no one because I really wanted to cry, and most of the time I didn't cry that much, but like, I was very emotional. And I, like, luckily a lot of my friends were checking up on me. My friend who was in Dubai, my friend who was in India, my friend who was in Birmingham, they all just kept messaging and calling and just making sure I was fine. Of course, my sister, my mom called as well. But when you're sick and you have to be by yourself, it really hits you hard. Like, because when I'm sick, I love to be taken care of. I like the attention. Please give me attention. Like, I don't want to say I'm dramatic when I'm sick, but like, when I'm sick, I really want to be taken care of, dude. I like it. Like, please, like, I'm tired. Please take care of me. My hyper independence is gone. Independent woman, who? Who? I don't see her. She's not here anymore. She's dead. Please take care of me. Being anyone at that point of time is it really feels crippling, and it's horrible. And I think that is one of the most horrible feelings to have when you're away from home. You know, you can miss home, you can whatever, whatever, but when you're sick, you really, it's like you're really down in the pits, and it's not nice. I would not suggest it. Not that I just ignore what I'm saying. Anyways, so that is one of the worst feelings. Now to go to the positive. Number 5. This does not sound like a positive, but you will be all alone. You will be alone. I am someone like back in Kuwait or even back in India, I have always had people around me. And that's not a bad thing. Okay, that's not a bad thing. So like even in Kuwait, if I really did want to do something, the thing is you don't have an opportunity to be alone, because like I had options to meet my friends all the time. I had a friend who lived 2 buildings away from me, and I just needed to walk like 5 minutes to go meet him. And then on the weekends, we're always calling each other, we're like, yo, what's up? Okay, coffee, let's go. Yeah, okay, fine, let's go this place, that place, whatever. So you are always occupied. And during the week, you come back home, and then I had my mom at home, so we would be chilling or talking, or then I would just go out. Like mostly, I'll go to the gym and I'll come back home. So you always have someone around you. But here, you are all alone. And as much as, like I said in the previous point, it takes a while for you to get used to being alone, but then you learn your ways. And while while doing this, you figure out so much about yourself, so much. And you figure out what you like, what you don't like, what's your routine, what food you can cook, and you start cooking way more, and you start experimenting more with food. You pick up new hobbies. I have written all this down, so I'm just going to read it. You meet new people, you build new friendships. I know I said that I don't like speak to a lot of people, but the friends that I have made are so close to me, are so close to me. And it's still the friendships that I've developed in the last few years. When I thought my time with making friendships was done, it's crazy. Like the friends that I've made in the last few years are just my soul sisters. I've found them, and yeah, my soul brother. You know who you guys are. I started dancing again. I set my room how I like. I mess my room how I like. I leave my room how I like, and no one's gonna tell me anything about it. I'm left with my thoughts, and I learn more about my thoughts. I have journaled so much that I've figured out so much by myself. I've created boundaries for myself. I've started a podcast. You know, I started content creation last year. And I feel like there is so much opportunity when you are lonely. Because you have no choice but to sit with your thoughts. You have no choice but to do the things that you love to do, or you're just trying to figure out on how to fill this emptiness or the time that you have. And it's only when you're alone that you feel comfortable diving into these things. This can even happen when you have your friends, okay? But there are some people, like for me, I'm pretty sure my friends, I don't want to call them a distraction, but I know I'm someone who's very used to external validation. So I know I'm someone who, if I have an idea, I'll put it out there in a way like, oh, imagine this, just to get a feel or a reaction from someone. And if they react negatively, that's my external validation. Like, that's what I'm looking for. I'll not proceed with that. That is something that I frequently did. But now that I was alone, I had no choice but to just do what I wanted to do. I could not go speaking to my friends and asking them, oh, this idea. And they'll be like, I don't know, sounds kind of dumb, sounds kind of cringe or whatever. I just didn't have that. I had no choice but to do whatever I have wanted to do for the past few years while being alone. I spent a lot of time journaling. I have like 5, 6 books just since 2020, by the way, where I've just written my thoughts. I get up every single morning and I just write 3 pages of anything that's in my head, and that has helped me learn about myself so much. So when you're alone, it's such a huge opportunity for you to like actually learn about yourself and explore all the things that you wanted to explore. You didn't have the courage before. I don't know what exactly it is that pushed me to do the things that I do more confidently. Maybe it's age, maybe it's experience, maybe it's just, man, I'm so tired of like not doing the things that I want to do and thinking about it every single year. But again, all of those things I got clarity of by being by myself. So I think you moving away from your comfort zone into a very uncomfortable position in your life can actually open so much more opportunity for you. And you just need to like take that leap of faith and just get doing get to doing what you actually wanted to do. So yeah, that is my brief on the things that you need to know before you move away from home. As much as I've had my hard days, and as much as even sometimes I get really scared about the uncertainty of what's going to happen in the next year and where am I going to be and what's like life looking for me or whatever. All of that does come into play. But at the end of the day, when I look at the past 2 years that I've had and how much I've m- moved from where I am, the person that I have become, or the person that I'm becoming, and the things that I'm doing for myself has just made me so much more happier. I figured out so much about myself, and it's been such a learning experience for me. This whole thing has been such a journey, and it's had so many ups and downs, but there's nothing that I regret about this decision that I made in my life. What may come in a year, I don't know, but I really feel like from where I am now, there's no backing down to where I want to be, in a way. And it's only because that I have taken this leap of faith 2 years ago that I'm able to do most of the things that I do now way more comfortably than I ever could before. So, yeah, if you are someone who is thinking of leaving home and you're skeptical about it, but if you have the privilege or the opportunity to do it, absolutely go for it. There are going to be times where you're going to have mental breakdowns in your room. There have been times I've called my mom and cried and been like, yo, why did I do this? I don't understand. But eventually, you are going to see that silver lining. Life's going to show you ways and reasons on why you did it, and you're going to be so grateful that you have taken this opportunity for yourself. I do hope this kind of gives you perspective on what you could expect when you move away, and also how normal it is to feel these things when you're moving away. I didn't anticipate any of these things before coming here. I didn't think about, oh my god, I'm going to be really lonely, because not many people talk about it as frequently. If you're someone who's planning on moving, you should absolutely do it and experience this life for yourself. Get independent, get hyper independent, figure things out, figure your thoughts out, figure out what else you want to do. Have a lot of fun with socializing, have a lot of fun with doing whatever new hobby you want to pick up. Learn to live by yourself, because it's such an amazing experience to live by yourself. Like sometimes I sit on my bed and I just look in my room and I'm like, damn man, this is not bad. Like I love this life. Like I'm so grateful for everything that I have right now. There have been times like that as well. And yeah, that's that. Before I repeat what I wanted to say one more time, thank you so much for watching, and I really do hope you enjoy this episode. If you're someone who is looking to move away and you have fears, and or you are someone who has moved away and you have comments or things that you have experienced that are pretty similar, leave a comment below. Leave a comment below, and we will dissect that together. Okay? So, yeah. See you on the next episodes. Also, this bandana is so cute, bro. This bandana is so cute. Absolutely love it. I think I'm going to be a bandana girl after this. Yeah. So that's my announcement for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.